Well, hello, everybody. Welcome along to SportsBet TV. It is terrific to be here at one of the big weekends of the year, really, as far as the jump seasons go. One of the biggest handicap chases coming up at Newbury. That's going to be the Coral Gold Cup on Saturday, and I'm really looking forward to giving you a very nice prize tip in that race. That's definitely going to be worth sticking around for. If you happen to be finding me for the very first time, just press the red button below the screen here, the subscribe, free to subscribe, and you'll be able to follow my tips for free from now and going forward. Well, I gave you a couple of tips last week, and well, Benson ran very well actually at Haydock. He finished second. To be honest, Stainsby Lass was given a peach of a ride by Kit Alexander and slipped the field. And by the time all the others had got wise to it, it was too late. And Benson stayed on best of them to be second, but the bird had flown. If you were on at very early prices, you would have got each way to get your money back. But I know that they did go a lot shorter eventually. There was plenty of money for him. And the other horse, well, Frero Bamboo, he ran well, just getting run out of it from the final fence at Ascot to finish fourth on a day when the going was particularly problematic. And this has been a really big issue, as I'm sure a lot of you know. There are so few runners in national hunt racing at the moment, it is becoming a major problem. Not just for me, who likes to bet each way on good-sized fields, which means the pool of races I'm able to select on are much reduced this year compared to previous years. But of course, punters are getting a bit fed up of it all. And as we saw at Ascot last week, we had a walkover with just one horse turning up. And the ground wasn't so fast. I mean, I can understand horses like Constitution Hill and Edward Stone and so on and so forth. L'Empressé maybe not wanting to take a chance, but it just seems that the ground was not as good as it should have been, but so many horses were withdrawn. And not just that, around the country, if I look to Saturday, and if you look at the big meetings on Saturday, you'll find that at Newcastle, there isn't even one double-figure field out of the 7 races. And only one race you could really, well, a couple of races you could bet on each way if you wanted to in handicaps. At Doncaster, again, only one double-figure field at Doncaster, but that's the junior bumper. That closes the card, which is a waste of time, of course. And there's a couple of handicaps with 8 runners, so any non-runners means you're already in trouble. Happily, Newbury on Saturday, despite good ground, the runners are standing up there, and we've got, of course, 16 in the Gold Cup, and we've got double-figure fields and a few other handicaps. But generally, even at Bangor as well, the runners are not there, and it is a major issue. And I'm sure a lot of the bookies are losing money, because I'm sure you, like me, aren't particularly interested in betting in 3 and 4 runner races day in, day out. Something has to be done. The racing industry needs to address it and get matters sorted and quick. Because we love this sport, and it's just being run in a very amateur fashion in so many different ways, as John Frankham actually pointed out in an interview this week in the Racing Post. Well, I'm looking forward to giving you that tip for the Coral Gold Cup. But of course, you may well know, if you follow me regularly, that my new premium racing service Out in Front started recently, and we've been amongst the winners. So if you're interested in taking a membership, then here's all you have to do. Here's what it's about. Hello, I'm Paul Alster. Since July 2020, my followers have enjoyed some really great success here with my regular Saturday and festival tips here at SportsBet TV. Well, now I'm offering an enhanced tipping service called Out in Front, aiming for plenty of big odds selections on far more racing days. So to continue receiving my profitable and enjoyable each way and often long odds racing selections, sign up now on Patreon for my low-cost, brand new live tipping service where you can interact with me and ask questions and comment in real time. So signing up to Out in Front only takes 2 minutes. First, choose a membership, then sign up, add a payment method, and then you'll get all the benefits of being an Out in Front member. I can't wait to see you, so sign up to the new Out in Front real-time tipping service with me, Paul Alster. So Out in Front will be giving bulletins, of course, over the weekend. There'll be a bulletin for Friday's racing for full members, and Saturday members will get the big bulletin, and there's also be a few Brucey bonuses as well for full members, with a couple of tips on Sunday, all being well, assuming the declarations hold up. So let's take you to Newbury on Saturday. It is one of the great handicap chases of the year. It's the old Hennessy Gold Cup with so many great memories, and the likes of the mighty Denman, of course, doing great things, and Native River in the not too recent past, amongst others. And this year, 16 runners thankfully stand their ground, which means that most betting firms, if they're worthy of the name, will be giving you 5 places, because those are kind of standard terms for big handicaps these days. I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 that may well be a little bit braver and go for 6 places, so do shop around. Now, the going is forecast good, and we certainly hope it doesn't get any quicker. I was listening to the clerk of the course interview, and he said that even though there was a deluge at Newbury on Wednesday, the ground was actually so dry with so little base water under the surface that it just went straight in, and it still remained good on top. So it is interesting to see what happens there, especially with very little rain forecast, according to the Met Office. Michael Fish isn't there anymore, so they're probably going to be on the mark. So it could dry out a bit. So let's just hope all the runners stand their ground. Now, they're betting 7-1 the field, as far as I can see at the time of this recording, early on Thursday afternoon. And amongst the 7-1 favourites is Corach Rambler for Scotland and Lucinda Russell. Terrific staying handicap chaser. He won the Ultima handicap chase at Cheltenham last season, a famous victory there on good to soft ground. He's now £7 higher, but he's a progressive horse, and he'll be better for a recent run at Carlisle. Now, another one around the 7-1 mark is the all-conquering Paul Nicholls' 3 under through 5, something I've never been able to say, unfortunately, in 40 years of trying playing golf. Anyway, this one, twice a Grade 2 novice chase winner last term, and he was 6 in the old RSA chase, the 3-mile novice chase at the Cheltenham Festival, won by L'Empressé, who, of course, is a Gold Cup hope this year. He's already had a run this season over hurdles at Wetherby, where he finished a solid 3rd to Pushima in the Grade 2 West Yorkshire hurdles, so that should have blown the cobwebs away. But back over fences, this is his first time taking on season handicappers. It will be interesting to see how he copes. Now, there's been a lot of money around and quite a word out for Dan Skelton's runner, Le Miloche. We saw Dan Skelton have that fabulous win at Haydock last Saturday in the Betfair Chase with Protectorat, who now is a serious contender for the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Well, he's got Le Miloche here, who's a progressive staying handicapper who improved a stone last term and has already won comfortably this season, although in heavy ground at Bangor 19 days ago. Question is, on this quicker ground, is he going to prove quite as effective? And he's also been hit by a £4 penalty. So although there's quite a few people steaming into him, I wouldn't be rushing to the side of Le Miloche because I think this ground is a very different kettle of fish to that he faced at Bangor, although he did run some decent races, good to soft last season, of course. Now, David Pipe's horses, stuck in a time warp for a moment there. His horses have been running very well this autumn, and his horse Remastered is back for another crack at this race. Now, Remastered, you may recall, that wears those very bright multicoloured silks, fell in this race last year when he was going really well, 4 from home. Who knows how close he might have gone last year. He's now £4 lower, despite a very promising 4-length reappearance 3rd in a hurdle around at Aintree, I should say. He won a 3-mile hurdle at Aintree 3 weeks ago. Now, the point I was trying to get to in a rather roundabout way here is that Remastered has had a breathing operation. Now, since he had the breathing operation, he's come out and won. So clearly his breathing is back right. And if they've got him right, then he clearly is on a good mark, lower than he was last year. So he's a horse, I think, to be fearful of, Remastered. Now, Ireland doesn't have a brilliant record in this race. Actually, they don't have too many runners in the race. So Joseph O'Brien's run at Bustleton has to be considered. Now, this is a remarkable horse. He's still only 5, and he's already been going nearly 3 seasons. He's an ex-French horse who is incredibly mature. He won the Kerry National last time out, so he stays really well and is a good jumper these days. He's rated 149, and Joseph is such a marvellous trainer. He's really carrying on his father's mantle, and this horse is going to be dangerous. And he's one of many with chances in this race. Now, one trainer who seems to have set out his stall for this race is Joe Tizard. Now, Joe is running horses under his own name for the first time this season. He's been assistant to his father, Colin Tizard, for donkey's years, having previously ridden for his dad, including riding the likes of Q Card and others back in the day. Anyway, so Joe Tizard has been doing really well since he's taken over from his father. Although, to be fair, last season, a lot of the Tizard horses seemed to be under a cloud with a bit of a bug for much of the term. Now, he runs 3 in this race, and 2 of them are a similar price at around 9-1. One of them is Oscar Elite, who was 3rd in that Ultima Handicap chase behind Corach Rambler in March. And he is now £6 better off for 3 lengths, so he's handicapped to be very, very close to the Scottish horse. And he's another horse who's going to be better for a run at Wetherby in that West Yorkshire hurdle. Now, the other one is the classy Fiddler on the Roof. And this one, of course, ran a blinder. In this very race 12 months ago, he went down by just half a length to Cloudy Glen with the pair clear. It was a brilliant effort. On his day, he's very smart. He's £7 higher this time around. But you may remember as well what a great race he ran in the Grand National at Aintree in April, eventually finishing 5th, just not quite getting home over the 4¼ miles. And this is a horse who's run well enough in a handicap hurdle on his reappearance 3 weeks ago. And interestingly, those cheap pieces are on, and it'll be fascinating to see how Fiddler on the Roof goes. He would want any rain that falls on Newbury. That will be a big help to him. I'm just concerned for Fiddler on the Roof that if it is generally good ground or maybe even a touch quicker, it might just be a touch too quick for him, but we'll see. But if it goes good to soft, or who knows, if there's a cloudburst, he would have a massive chance. Now, of course, the Tizards have won the race twice in the last 6 years. They won it with Native River, and they won it with an older horse, Sizing Tennessee, who was a 10-year-old when he won this. And they've got another 10-year-old in this race called Lost in Translation, and this is my choice. Now, Lost in Translation, trained by Joe Tizard, is the man of his nephew, Freddie Ginger, who's just 16 or 17 years old. He's already making a real name for himself, this kid. He's looked like a proper jockey. And because he's able to claim quite a lot, he is really good value to have on your side. Now, Lost in Translation is a horse whom you will know quite a lot about if you follow racing, because he's been around for a little while and he's run a host of good races over the years. And I believe he's been given a great chance by the handicapper. This is a horse who 3 years ago, back in 2019, was right up there, finishing 2nd in the JLT Novices Chase at the Cheltenham Festival. He then went on at the Aintree Festival to win the Grade 1 Mildmay Novices Chase in very comfortable fashion. The following season, he came out and slammed Bristol de Mai, no less, in the Grade 1 Betfair Chase. And that was when Bristol de Mai was at his very peak. So that was an extraordinary performance. He went on in 2020 to finish 3rd in the Gold Cup, having had every chance halfway up the running. He was 3rd, beaten just 1.5 lengths by Album Photo. And on all that form, the horse was rated up there at around 170. So he's been very, very high class indeed. Now, last term, he won first time out, and that was in the Grade 2 Farmer 1965 Chase when he was rated 160, and he won it in really good style. He then went on to run at Kempton, which wouldn't be the ideal kind of track for him, I don't think. He was 5th to Tornado Flyer in the King George. After that, his form tailed off, but that coincided with the Tizard horses having a few issues with bugs and things in the yard. And as a result of that, and despite having run very well in the Grand National until getting tired at the 3rd last, he was bang there until they crossed the Melling Road, coming back towards home the final time. He's been dropped to a mark of 150. Now, that's fully £20 below his pom. And when you add in Freddie Gingel's £7 claim, he's actually running here in a handicap for the first time in a very, very long time at all, of a mark of 143. And this could be a real chance for Lost in Translation, especially given the fact that he ran very well first time out when winning at Ascot in a Grade 2 12 months ago. So I think on that basis, he has a massive chance. Now, Joe Tizard's been quite frank about the horse. He says he's been working very well, but the horse has been a little bit in and out over the last 2 seasons. You don't know which side of the bed he's going to get out. But I think it's worth taking a chance at a decent price that he'll be getting out the right side of the bed and enjoying himself. And he could just feel he's running free here off a relatively low weight here against lesser horses than he often has been up against in recent years. So Lost in Translation, 25 to 1 each way for 5 places with Ladbrokes and Corals at the time of this recording. Now, I just want to mention as well that he's not got a dissimilar profile to a horse that did us a massive favour on this very Saturday 2 years ago, exactly in the rehearsal chase. I hope many of you were on when we had a very big day when Yorkhill won for us at 66 to 1 in the rehearsal chase for Sandy Thompson up at Newcastle. Now, Yorkhill that day was a similar type of horse who'd been struggling in the races at the end of his previous term, but had been given a chance by the handicapper to run up a relatively low weight against easier horses. And of course, he went and did the business for us at 66s. Now, they say lightning doesn't strike twice, but of course, I've come up with a number of very big price winners over the years. I do think Lost in Translation has a proper chance. So let's hope he gives us a good run for our money. And young Freddie Gingell could really make a very big name for himself if he can hold it together. And from what we've seen of the lad, he's definitely got a proper jockey's head on his shoulders. So the best of luck with that, and the best of luck with whatever you're backing this weekend. Remember to feel free to check out in Front at the link just below this screen. And for now, from me, Paul Alster, I'll say goodbye. Enjoy your racing.